up, people? How you doing? I hope you're having a goddamn great day. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we'll be replicating and recreating Dino Toppmöller's 4-4-2 formation with the natural number 6 position in play. Of course, I do know and I do understand that more naturally, for majority of the games this season that they have played, they've used a 3-4-2-1 system. But I'm going to be replicating the 4-4-2 system that they have also used this season. So don't jump on me in the comment section saying, well, they actually play this. I know, I understand. But I will be making those tactics in the near future. So if you guys can bear with me for this one, I think that these tactics are slightly better in my personal opinion. Anyways, so if you guys don't mind smashing the like button, doing all that good stuff, subscribing, and yeah, let's hop on straight into the goddamn video. Progressing on to the formation, like I'd mentioned earlier, it is going to be a 4-4-2 holding with 2 6s, but because you want to try and get the likes of Mario Götze slightly higher up the field, I've changed him into a central midfielder. So that is the only major change I have made. So therefore, it would be 1 goalkeeper, 2 centre-backs, 2 full-backs, 1 DM, 1 central midfielder, 2 wider midfielders, and then of course, 2 strikers. So, taking a look at the tactics under the likes of Dino Toppmöller. For the tactical vision, I've selected gegenpressing. I do think that when out of possession of the ball, he wants his team to be very attentive to what the opposition are doing, looking to press them very aggressively. And I do think that gegenpressing suits the system, especially on the defensive end of things. In terms of the offensive end of things, when they are in possession of the ball, they tend to move it very quickly through the lines. So whether it's out wide or in the middle areas of the field, they do look for that forward pass or maybe even that long ball approach in behind. So again, gegenpressing I think suits the system very, very well. In terms of the defense and the defensive style, pressing after possession loss, again, it suits the system. It goes hand in hand with gegenpressing. When out of possession of the ball, they look to try and aggressively press the opposition, looking to win it back and turn it into a counter-attacking opportunity. As for the team width, I've set this to 70. Now, this creates a bit more of a zonal approach, but a man-v-man type zonal approach. Each man is responsible for their section of the field, and they'll look to aggressively press the ball carrier when they obviously take the ball into that area of the pitch. In terms of the depth, I've set this to 65. It is on the cusp of what you might consider a high line, but it's a mid-block. It's a higher mid-block, you could say, allowing for you to still have that nice aggressive centre-back mentality when they do, slightly step further up the field, and that does help in possession, of course, but at the same time, you can be protected with any ball over the top or a quick counter-attack through ball opportunity that the opposition does try and create. As for the offense, the build-up player is set to fast build-up, as well as the chance creation is set to direct passing, quite often getting those players in between the lines, as well as allowing for your forwards to make those runs in behind, penetrating the opposition's backline as much as possible. And like I said, when they are in possession of the ball, they tend to move it quite quickly through the lines, whether it's more centrally or out wide, of course. As for the width, I've set this to 80. They do try and stretch the opposition backline as much as possible, trying to fit their attackers in between the defense, making sure that they are generating as much space between the lines as well. So taking a look at the players in the box, I've set this to 7, and it is kind of becoming a staple for a lot of these tactics. I quite like it for FC24 purposes. I think it allows you to have, 3 to 4 players in the box, but at the same time, it still allows you to have quite a good presence in and around the box as well. So if you need to rotate play, work it into a better area, work a better opportunity, you can do this very, very effectively. As for the corners and the free kicks, as always, it is set to 4. Now, progressing on to the instructions, starting off at the back with the likes of Kevin Trapp. He is set to be a sweeper keeper, quite happy to run off of his line, claim those balls when they are whipped in over the top, but at the same time, you do have a very capable backline and you aren't playing the highest of lines, not considered a high line. It's considered a high mid block, but not a high line. So they can also deal with the pressure and the issues if there is a through ball fight in behind and having those penetrating runners from the opposition. But at the same time, just for a safety blanket, you can allow for Trapp to be that slightly modernized goalkeeper and make those runs outside of the box. As for the saving on crosses, now I did note that in the Werder Bremen game, the likes of Trapp, he was quite happy to punch the ball and, just try and clear his lines as quick as possible, or stay on his line and allow for the back line to try and deal with it. So I think a balanced approach would suit him. He's not overly great at claiming those aerial balls and being super aggressive when trying to, leap in the air and claim them. So again, I think a balanced approach suits the way he plays. So moving on into your back line, we've got the likes of Paco and Koch. No major changes for their instructions. You don't need to do too much with them. Now, taking a look at the two fullbacks. Now, Nkunku is more of a bombing on attacking fullback, whereas the likes of Tuta or was Collins against Werder Bremen, a bit more of a reserved role. And when they were looking to chase the game, the right back did, make those runs forward, invert into the midfield, overlap in certain moments as well. So for the role for the right back, it's a bit more reserved, a bit more of a balanced approach, but it is very, very effective because when the left back does bomb on forward, this back three system that they're more used to playing with, it does tend to form every now and then. So for the attacking runs, it's set to balance with the run type sets to mixed, and then of course the defensive position set to step up. This does, kind of help with the gegenpressing system, getting your fullback nice and close to the opposition man, and not allowing them too much space to create for anybody else, or maybe, get some space to run in behind, or more so almost attached to them by the hip. As you'll see here for the likes of Nkunku, a slightly more attacking outlet from him, join the attack, overlap, and then of course step up. Now, taking a look at your midfield, of course you've got your two number 6s, Scary and Goetze. Scary is the more defensive player of the two, with Goetze being the more of the attacker. So for Scary, you want him to be able to have that zonal approach, cutting passing lanes, making sure he's trying to cover for Goetze just in front of the back four. So I think that suits the style of play a bit better. In terms of the attacking support, you want him to stay back while attacking, allowing for Goetze to be able to bomb forward as much as possible. And then the aggressive interceptions. With Goetze not being in the midfield, you do need a bit of an energy bunny in and around there. So you need the other midfielder, in terms of Scary, you need him to try and cover all of his bases. And more so, you want him chasing the opposition. You want him hurrying them. You want him making them feel very uncomfortable in the more central areas of pitch. As for the positioning freedom, it's set to stick to position, and then finally the defensive position is set to cover the center. Like I say, with Goetze drifting all the way forward and all that good stuff, you don't really want Scary, drifting into those wider channels and basically vacating the central areas of the field. You want at least one of those players in and around the middle of the pitch. Now, onto the midfield counterpart, Goetze. He's set to get forward, get into the box, normal interceptions, cover the wing, and then of course free roam. Quite often you would see the likes of Goetze when in possession of the ball, more so, the likes of Frankfurt. When in possession, the likes of Goetze would bomb forward, take up a space on either side of Mamush or Chaibi, and look to try and pull players out of position, occupy those slightly wider spaces, and then try and create from those areas as well. So more so, these tactics and instructions allow him to do this very, very well. Now, taking a look at your left and your right midfielder, they also do have slightly differing roles. So we'll start off with Knauf. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I hope so. You guys can let me know though down below. But for Knauf, however, he is set to a basic defensive support. So yes, he can track back and help out the likes of Nkunku, or he can also look to and choose to stay further forward and be an attacking outlet higher up the field. The chance creation is set to a balance width, so he can also look to try and hug the touchlines. But because you do have a bombing on fullback, when the fullback does, bomb on, he can also choose to drift inside a bit more, narrow his more attacking stance, a starting position, and look to combine very well with the other forwards as well as the midfield. In terms of the support runs, I've set this to balance. It can allow for him to get in behind and penetrate the opposition's backline, combining very well with the likes of Nkunku down that left-hand channel. Or, like I said earlier, if he does choose to come inside, he can interchange passes with the midfield and come a bit shorter and get on the ball a bit more, maybe even drive at the opposition. As for the interceptions, I've set this to aggressive, and then finally, you want him to be able to break into the box, attacking those, more central areas if need be. So for the right midfielder, of course, Dino Toppmöller, I also highly, highly rate this man. A fantastic signing from PSG, made permanent in the summer. So he obviously will have a bit more of a right wing back / hybrid right midfielder type role. Because like I say, even with the 4-4-2 in play, every now and then we did see the natural 3-4-2-1 come out and take shape. And more so, these instructions allow this to happen very, very effectively. So you want him to help back on defense, consistently looking to try and help the likes of Tuta or Collins, whoever's in that right back spot, tracking back, picking up the wide runners, picking up the extra man in those wider areas as well. The chance creation is set to stay wide and get in behind, more so hugging the touchline, looking to try and generate space for either an inverted Tuta run or, allowing for the likes of Mamouche to maybe also drift into that wider right space. But more so, you want him taking up that more natural right midfielder role where he's going to look to try and supply crosses, break in behind, penetrate the opposition's backline as much as possible. That sounded very dodgy, I know. But in terms of the interceptions, it's set to aggressive, and then finally, also you want him to be able to break into the box every now and then. So progressing on to your front two, we've got the likes of Chaibi as well as Marmoush. Now, of course, Chaibi is more naturally a wide midfielder, so he is in a slightly different position to his what he would normally be used to. But I think against the likes of Werder Bremen, he was so good at, having that central natural position and then pulling a player out of position, opening up space for Marmoush, opening up space for Goethe to try and attack, maybe even Nauf as well, when he would look to try and cut inside. So for the Chaibi role, drift wide as well as a mixed attack, allowing him to sometimes drop a bit deeper as a false 9, or also looking to break him behind. Every now and then you can use his physical abilities, but he doesn't have the best physical stats, so keep that in mind as well. But a mixed attack, I think, reflects and suits how he played versus Werder Bremen. As for the interceptions, I've set this to aggressive. Obviously, you also want him pressing when off the ball, looking to try and cause a mistake or a mishap in the opposition's backline, and that can maybe turn into a goal-scoring opportunity for your side. And then finally, the defensive support is set to a basic, so therefore, he can also choose to drop a bit deeper, just like with Nauf, or he could look to stay further up the field and combine for a potential counter-attack. As for the more natural striker of the side, Marmoush, he is set to a balanced width, also allowing him to drift wide in certain moments or potentially naturally taking up the more central role. He is very quick, very pacey, so you want to try and use that to your team's advantage. So you would instruct him to get in behind, penetrating the backline of the opposition as much as possible with those runs in behind. And because the players are set to direct passing, they'll more naturally look to make those runs in behind, allowing for quite a few balls over the top to be played. The interceptions are set to aggressive, just like with Chaibi, and then finally, the basic defensive support is set to be on for him. Just like with Chaibi as well, he can choose to drop off and drop a bit deeper, support the defense, or again, he can also choose to stay further forward and combine quite well for a potential counter-attack. And there you have it, guys. That is how I would replicate the 4-4-2 Dino Toppmöller system in FC24, of course. If you guys have enjoyed this, please don't forget to smash the like button down below, subscribe if you are new, and all that good stuff. Now, the most important thing, out of 10, I would give this system a 9. I really, really like it. I might be slightly biased because I highly rate Chaibi. I love Dina Abembe. The backline forming that back three system with the bombing on left fullback, it's just sensational. It creates a whole lot of mismatches. It creates a whole lot of overloads down the left-hand side as well, especially with Chaibi, Knauf, and Nkunku all bombing on down that left channel in certain moments as well. You guys can let me know though down below if you have enjoyed this video. Please, like I say, smash the like button. If you like the system as well, let me know. It means the absolute most. So until the next time, my dudes, I hope you have a smashing goddamn day, and I'm out.